Canada is making a bold move in its defense policy, shifting away from its traditional US-centric approach. For decades, Canada's security relied on NORAD and NATO, shaping its military and spending. But on June 23, 2025, Prime Minister Mark Carney's government signed a new agreement with the European Union, signaling a deliberate pivot. This Strategic Security and Defense Partnership, or SSGO, is more than just buying European military hardware. It's about diversifying alliances and reducing reliance on the US. Trade tensions and doubts about US reliability have pushed Ottawa to seek stronger ties with Europe. The goal: more options, flexibility, and control over Canada's destiny. By forging these new ties, Canada aims for a balanced foreign policy, not just following the US lead. The timing is crucial as Canada faces a major decision on a massive US military purchase. This pivot signals to Washington and Brussels that Canada is ready to assert its interests on the global stage. It's a calculated gamble, but one the government believes is necessary for Canada's future. The world is watching to see how this bold strategy unfolds. The SSGO is a landmark agreement integrating Canada into Europe's defense and technology sectors. For the first time, Canadian companies can bid on major European defense projects, including the next-gen MGCS tank and FCAS fighter jet. The deal also establishes a joint Canadian test site for advanced European cruise missiles. Beyond defense, the EU secures a 20-year license for Quebec nickel cobalt, while Canada receives €820 million in green bonds for a lithium battery recycling facility. This aligns defense policy with climate goals, boosting Canada's clean tech economy. For every euro Canada spends, it's guaranteed at least €0.65 in industrial benefits. The SSGO promises modernization, industrial growth, and a direct economic return for Canada. Canada's EU Pact has cast doubt on its $19 billion F-35 fighter jet deal with Lockheed Martin. The F-35 was meant to modernize Canada's Air Force and ensure US interoperability. Now the government is delaying a crucial $2.88 billion payment, linking it to the success of the EU partnership. This pause signals to Washington that the F-35 deal is no longer guaranteed. Canada is weighing the industrial benefits of the EU Pact against the US offer. The government frames this as due diligence, but it's also a high-stakes negotiation tactic. If the payment deadline passes unresolved, the F-35 deal could collapse. Canada is caught between its US alliance and a promising new European partnership. Canada is playing high-stakes poker with the F-35 contract as its biggest chip. By threatening to delay or cancel the jet order, Ottawa aims to extract the best industrial offset terms from both the US and EU. The $2.88 billion payment delay puts pressure on Washington and signals to Europe that Canada is serious. The EU's guaranteed industrial return is attractive, and Canada is challenging the US to match it. But this strategy is risky. If the US calls Canada's bluff, it could redirect F-35 supply contracts elsewhere. Prolonged negotiations could leave Canada with no deal and an obsolete Air Force. Still, Ottawa hopes to spark a bidding war for Canada's investment, forcing both sides to offer more. The goal: secure the best possible industrial benefits whichever path Canada chooses. It's a bold gambit that will test Canadian diplomacy. The outcome could redefine Canada's defense industry for years. The US has responded with clear warnings, reminding Canada of what's at stake if it backs away from the F-35. Canadian firms currently earn $450 million annually from F-35 supply contracts, benefits that could vanish if the deal falls through. The US has set a 2027 deadline for these contracts, adding urgency. Washington warns that not buying the F-35 would undermine Canada's role in the Five Eyes intelligence network and future coalition operations. The fate of a planned Pratt & Whitney engine facility in Quebec, promising hundreds of jobs, is now uncertain. The message: canceling the F-35 would have deep economic and strategic costs for Canada. The pressure is on Ottawa to make a choice. Delaying or canceling the F-35 deal would have costly consequences. Canada's CF-18s are aging, and losing its F-35 production slot could delay new jets until 2030 or later. Keeping old jets flying would cost billions more, diverting funds from modernization. Canada risks losing $450 million a year in F-35 supply contracts and the planned engine facility in Quebec. Canceling the deal could strain US relations, complicating NORAD cooperation. The diplomatic fallout would be significant, and Canada would have to restart its fighter jet search from scratch. The cost of delay is measured in dollars, lost time, and weakened alliances. Canada faces a tough choice: modernization and partnership, or costly uncertainty. The stakes couldn't be higher. Summer 2025 is decision time for Canada's defense policy. In July, a key tender for the Euromail drone will test whether the EU partnership delivers real benefits. Winning would strengthen Canada's hand, losing would weaken it. The end of July is the final deadline for the $2.88 billion F-35 payment. Canada must choose its path. Early August brings another test, a tender for MBDA's cruise missile sensor package. These decisions will reveal if the EU's promises are real or just talk. The outcomes will shape Canada's defense and industrial future for decades. The world is watching as Canada faces its pivotal moment. Canada's defense pivot has sparked fierce debate at home. The Conservative opposition warns that risking the F-35 deal could alienate the US and threaten national security. The NDP supports the government's push for better industrial benefits and job creation through Europe. Public opinion is pragmatic. Canadians want clear benefits, whether from the US or EU. The government faces criticism from one side and cautious support from another. The political stakes are high. The final decision will shape Canada's defense industry and global role for a generation. As summer deadlines approach, pressure mounts on Ottawa to deliver results. The choices stark: remain a loyal US partner, or chart a more independent course with Europe. The outcome will define Canada's future. The world, and Canadians, are waiting for the answer.